What's up, my fellow headbangers? I'm Courtney, aka the Versatile Virgo, and for those of you that don't know me, I run a metal lifestyle blog, theversatilevirgo.com, which focuses on the best things in life: music, food, and fashion. So if that's something that interests you, make sure to check it out. I've linked it in the description below. Students in a Texas area school district are suing over a district-wide requirement that discriminates against students who essentially aren't sporting a conventional look. This policy, which particularly targets their hair, is even stricter on males and non-binary students. To quote Corrosion of Conformity, that's how the story goes in the land of a thousand no's. And as someone who is not at all into a conventional look, this particular topic is very near and dear to my heart, especially because of experiences that I've had in my own life, especially growing up as a Catholic school student. So in today's video, I thought we would take a look at this story and I would share my opinion with you as well as some of my experiences. And don't worry, I'll be keeping my hair in my eyes the entire time. As reported by NBC News, students in the Magnolia Independent School District in suburban Houston must adhere to several requirements when it comes to their hairstyles. Those include keeping their locks clean, well-groomed, and worn out of the eyes, maintaining appropriate hygiene at all times, and having a natural hair color. For males, the district-wide policy is even stricter: no beards, mustaches, or long sideburns. Hair can't be pinned up in a bun or held up in a ponytail, and its length shouldn't be longer than the bottom of the ear. So right off the bat, I feel like this is a major contradiction, particularly that you're supposed to be sporting a natural hair color, but yet male students aren't allowed to have beards, mustaches, and long sideburns. But isn't that a natural thing? All right, I forgot. Apparently, according to them, that's not cleaned and well groomed enough for them. So I guess these students won't get to participate in No Shave November, for example. So you're supposed to look natural, but only if your natural look is what we deem to be acceptable, right? There are plenty of reasons that people would want to have long hair in general. That doesn't always necessarily mean you're not groomed. And you know, there are people out there that don't cut their hair for religious reasons. But you know, I guess this follows the typical trend of only some religious practices are acceptable. A topic for another day. So at least 6 male students and 1 non-binary student in this school district are being punished for this requirement. And you want to know how they're being punished? They're being suspended. Still confused? Well, let me give you some examples as to who would be suspended under this policy. Slayer's Tom Arroyo, suspended. Fabio, suspended. Jesus himself, suspended. But these students are fighting back with a lawsuit. A federal lawsuit filed Thursday on behalf of those students by the American Civil Liberties Union of Texas argues the punishment is biased and violates both their constitutional rights and Title IX, the federal law that prohibits sex-based discrimination in schools. The students, who are identified by their initials, are seeking an injunction to halt enforcement of the policy. According to the lawsuit, they have been denied classroom instruction, barred from extracurricular activities, and forced to be suspended and separated from their peers for well over a month simply because these students don't conform to Magnolia ISD's stereotypical notions of gender. Well, yeah, I mean, to me, they're basically saying that your looks are more important than an education. America. And it's like, I feel like they probably have more important things to worry about to begin with. Like educating students? But sure, let's waste time with something that doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter if you can do math problems or can form a sentence or anything like that. It matters how long your hair is. I still laugh, and I'm sure you guys probably do too, because you probably had this happen at the teachers that were like, "You're not gonna have a calculator in your pocket." Oh, and apparently, according to this article, these students are not, quote, academically troubled or otherwise considered problem students. So Doesn't this seem like a big waste of time? When I first heard this story, I was initially thinking this was more targeted towards high school students, and I was really disgusted to hear specifically this story about an elementary school boy who's also a part of this suit. One of the boys is Latino and wears a long ponytail, emulating his father and uncle with a hairstyle that is part of the family's heritage. The boy, who is 9 years old and in elementary school, was initially placed in in-school suspension for more than a month, then forced into a disciplinary alternative education program at another site, according to the suit. He is now homeschooled, while his sister, who attends the same elementary school and has long hair, was not disciplined. The article also notes how policies like this affect students of color as well. Like when a federal judge in Texas blocked the Barber Hills Independent School District, also near Houston, from enforcing a dress code policy that prohibited a black teenager from keeping his dreadlocks and would have also confined him to in-school suspension. I've never gotten the point of in-school suspension. We're gonna suspend you and you're not gonna be allowed to go to class, but you still need to be here. Now, I've never had in-school suspension. Maybe if you've had in-school suspension, you can tell me if you felt that it was helpful for you at all. But I just think that in a particular situation like this, where essentially it's all about looks, I don't see how suspending students is going to help them. Instead of picking people up, we basically choose to crush them. So let me tell you about my personal experience with a similar issue, I guess. I kind of talked about this a little bit when I wrote my blog post for Anthrax's worship music, and I mentioned in that blog post that when I was in Catholic school, I had one teacher in particular that was very strict, a former nun. That strict. And of all the teachers, this was the teacher that if you had too much makeup on, you were sent to the bathroom to wash it off. If you had bright nail polish or dark nail polish and you got caught with it, you were going to the bathroom to take that off. I think over the years she had kind of mellowed out a little bit, but I definitely knew students who got sent to the bathroom to take off makeup or to take off nail polish. Now, the things that I like in terms of aesthetically speaking has always been on the darker side of things. I have been that way for as long as I can remember. So when I got to age like 12, 13 in middle school and I started wearing makeup, I loved the thick, heavy eyeliner. Like if I could only have one makeup product for the rest of my life, at that point in my life, it was going to be black eyeliner. And I liked it as thick as possible. It also didn't help that I was an emo kid, and this was when the scene was really big in like the MySpace era and stuff. We emo kids also loved to have the hair in our eyes. But needless to say, when I would go to school, I'd have to turn that down. And for me, I think having to worry about those other things that didn't really matter was very distracting from the rest of the things that I was supposed to be learning. And I thought being sent to the bathroom to take it off was bad. Imagine getting in-school suspension for that. We also did have the rule that your hair needed to be well groomed and it couldn't be in your face. So if you had hair in your eyes, and again, I was an emo kid with hair in my eyes, that was a problem. And now obviously these things were a little bit more targeted towards girls, but the boys would get it too, depending on how they look. And I just, even then, never got the point of that. So I'm somebody that loves to play devil's advocate. So let's play devil's advocate here. Let's say you're one of those people that look at the way I look and say, oh, she just wants to look rebellious, when that's really not what it is. I just like what I like, but let's go with that. Wouldn't you think a policy like this would be encouraging those rebel souls to do this more often and would eventually backfire on you? Again, we're coming back down to the basic point of essentially they're being told, your looks are more important than your education. And if you don't look a certain way, then you don't deserve to have an education. That's crazy. That is, to me, that is crazy. I have no patience for telling people how they should look to begin with, but especially something like this where, again, there's a million and one reasons why a male or non-binary student, any student really, would want to have long hair. I guess right now the school district is reviewing the lawsuits and some grievances filed by parents as well. Needless to say, I think this whole policy is a huge distraction from what's really important, and I really hope this school district decides to stop the enforcement of this silly requirement. I just think that you don't have to be into the dark aesthetics or even a headbanger like myself to be questioning why we are teaching our youth that only one type of look, the conventional look, is the only one that's acceptable. And now that you've heard my thoughts, I want to hear yours. Let me know in the comments section below, and if you like this video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because I post once a week and I have even more videos coming out soon. Also, for more metal lifestyle content, don't forget to check out my blog, theversatilevirgo.com. Again, I've linked that in the description below. Up next is Kurt Loder with VVTV News. Just kidding. I don't know Kurt Loder. Thanks for watching, everybody, and stay heavy.